All right, it's an exciting day today, Friday, and from 48 teams to two teams just left at the World 2026 World Cup. My name is Dixon Umoituk. Welcome to Prime Sports, where sports lives. Today, I want it to be an interactive show because the final beckons. On Sunday, we'll be having Argentina, three-time champion, looking out with 2010 champion, Spain for the, who will be crowned will Argentina retain the World Cup, of Spain be a two-time winner, and it's going to be a fantastic one. You just saw those highlights of the semi-finals game played over the week where France lost the favourites. I won't say shockingly because Spain is an Euro champion. They lost 2-0 to Spain, and you saw Argentina, people will say, coming back from the dead to beat England 2-1. And at the fascinating final beckons. But joining me to talk sports today will be Aki, and also I'll be having Pastor Austin. But firstly, we want you to join us. Maybe you tell us about what you think about an analysis of the semi-finals. Were you shocked to see France being thrown out of the competition at the semi-final stage because people said they were going to go all the way to the finals? Were you surprised Argentina making a comeback after going a 1-0 down against England? But again, the phone lines will be open. Then the big one, Sunday, you can call in and make your predictions. People say Lionel Messi will be winning back-to-back World Cup. Some people have said that is the Yamil Yamal time, but all you need to do is pick up that phone and make a call. First of all, let me introduce Pastor Austin. He'll be joining me. First of all, Pastor Austin, good morning. Tell me the breakdown, your thoughts, analysis, and everything, the emotions that went through in those semi-final games, France versus Spain, then Argentina versus England. Good morning to you. Hello, Pastor Austin, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud. I can hear you loud and clear, Dixon.
Right.
It's an interest. Yes, yes. Um, in fact, I think the semifinals have humbled a lot of football fans. Before the Argentina England game was played, I think a lot of fans, a lot of French, a lot of what's his name, Kylian Mbappe fans, and the likes, Dembele fans. I think they were humbled after the first game. You know, when your team loses gallantly, um, France lost gallantly. When I say they lost gallantly, there was no, pardon my expression, mago mago. There was no funny play in it. They lost fair and square. I watched that game. And interestingly, I was at an airport at the time, and I watched it, watching it on the screen, and I was like, "Oh my god!" As every goal entered, I was just like, what on earth is going on here? France didn't come to the party that day. What a day to choose to not turn up and have a bad day at the office. I feel sorry for them because all their hopes and aspirations of an Argentina France final shattered. It reminded me once again of that counting your chicks before they hatch. Um, Nigeria, Denmark, instead of us focusing on Denmark, we're focusing on Brazil in the quarterfinals, and we got trashed in the round of 16 by Denmark. Same thing happened here. Everybody was seeing a France Argentina finals because they thought France would beat Spain, Argentina would beat England, and put for thought. France didn't show up that day, or maybe we are reading it wrongly. Then again, because sometimes a lot of people want to blame the favorites for not turning up. Just what if the not favorites in Spain put up such a performance that threw France off balance? There's always that, and I think I'd rather push that narrative than say that France were bad. I would say Spain were excellent. You underlined in our conversation some time ago, underlined a particular Spanish player that has been going under the radar, underrated, and that's what's his name now? Rodri. Rodri, absolutely. He put up a man of a man performance in that game. Silent. A lot of people didn't see the silent work he did in that defensive midfield area.
Yes.
And Unfortunately for the Mbappe fans, they're not going to have it. They should go and slug it out with the Premier League club. Since a lot of people were attributing England as Arsenal, well, Arsenal is playing third place finals. I hope they are cool with that. And for that one, that game was another drama-filled game. We didn't see as much of the direct interference as people anticipated there would be. But of course, then again, it's England. England is also a big four team. I mean, they're in the top four, so not surprising there. But I don't want to talk about the officiating. I don't want to talk about the refereeing. There are points to raise there, especially with the winning goal. We'll come to that later on in the show. But you just have to talk about Tuchel's horrendous tactics in that game. The same thing we bashed Arteta for at the Champions League finals is exactly what Tuchel came to do there. Time and time again. You know what? I used to be very critical of the Argentinian team and saying that they are only good because of the FIFA princess in the team. They are only good because of the dodgy officiating. All those exist and are true, at least to me. However, you cannot take it away that this team will not back down. Because it's one thing to have decisions go in your favor. Look at exactly, to come back, to have that belief that, you know what, we're one goal down. Against Egypt, they were 2 goals down.
And someone that's just joined us right now, the controversial one, Aki Odusi. Aki Odusi has just joined me now. Aki Odusi, I'm sure you've heard Stella, you've heard Paul.
Yes.
Quick reaction to the semi-finals before we go to the finals.
Okay, so I'll talk about the one people have been talking about, which is the England game. You know, I was posting after the game, I said I'll be surprised if Tuchel remains in charge the next morning. That's the day after the match. Because, I mean, everybody saw it. You needed to defend a goal. And the best form of defending, to my own knowledge, I'm not a coach, but the best form of defending is to attack. Because the Argentine defenders were coming, you know, trying to attack. And then you have fast players on your bench. You have Oli Watkins, you have Rashford, you have Madueke, you have Saka, fast players. Put them on, let them put pressure on the defense so that they can withdraw. But then you brought in a defender, you brought in another defender, you are bringing in, you brought out your DM in Declan, you were just doing anyhow. And then, I mean, Argentina equalized. And the point they equalized, I knew they were going to win. I was watching to my wife. I said they will score the winning goal. She was surprised when they scored the winning goal. So at least I'm an octopus in my own room. So I knew they were going to lose the game. But of course.
But again, I will go to something that came to my mind, but that will be later. But again, if he didn't see off that game, if he brought in attackers and he considered, people have said, why didn't you show off the defense? Again, sometimes it's easier for us, and Pastor Austin, I'm sure you are hearing me, it's easier for us to stay at home and say, you know what, this would have been the right thing to do because it didn't work out. If he defended that game and it worked out, people have said, master class, master defending from England. Now, if he brought in attackers and he considered and they won the game 2-1, just like what happened, they have said, why didn't he show up the defense? Why didn't he play back 3 and back 5? Sometimes, you know, these things can just happen. We've seen teams that didn't show up their defense, went to attack, and came back to lose that game. And we came out to say they will just close out the game. We used the word close out the game, and they close out the game.
No,
but again, I'm going to put it this way. We've seen the Madueke, we've seen the Saka. They've been, I don't want to use the word,
they've been off form doing this.
They've been off form, they've been outrageous this season. So the coach doesn't really trust these guys to come in to do what you are thinking they are going to do. And we've seen coaches. For you to, I think, even England has come out to say that they trust Tuchel and he's going to go to the Euros. But let's not forget that just the Champions League final, a certain coach did the same thing. Scored early and went to defend. You didn't come out to say that they should.
I knew this would come up. It did not defend. There's a difference between you defending and then you play. They played the PSG team, and you are expecting them not to defend. PSG were that good that you have to defend.
Is Argentina that good?
It's a different case.
Is Argentina that good?
No, listen, do you know why it's a different case? You brought in, I understand what you are trying to say.
Yes.
You brought in a defender. Let's say Dan Bonds. You brought in Dan Bonds, fine. But then you have stopped attacking immediately after that 55th minute goal. You've stopped attacking. Your attackers were not going forward again. Bring in somebody else. If you have to bring out Harry Kane, bring him out. Bring in Oli Watkins. I'm not saying you cannot, defend by bringing in Bonds. But then you brought in Bonds, you brought in Konsa. What are you trying to do? You are playing Argentina. They will always come. And then you need to attack them so that they can withdraw.
Okay, Pastor Austin, do you think it would have been a suicide mission if Tuchel had brought in attackers? Because the way the pressure was, do you even think that this Argentine team would have given up? Was it the best solution to bring in defenders? Because this is my own thoughts, and I want to hear your thoughts. Would the likes of Rashford track back to Mark Messi? Would they have tracked back to Mark McAllister? I'm just saying, because the pressure is too much. People underrate this Argentine team. They are the world champions. I want to have your view.
All right. So for me, I agree partly with Akin, and I get your point, Coach Dixon. But you can't just plan to defend the whole remaining 35 minutes of the game. It didn't make any logical sense, and that's why everybody's coming for Tuchel, because all of a sudden after the goal, what he came to do, and that's why everybody is very critical of him. And I don't blame everybody who is having such opinions. But whether Rashford or Oli Watkins and co would have made a difference, we will never know, because he never gave them a chance. However, in support of what Akin is saying, go and watch the Egypt game. Egypt had that exact master plan.
Yes.
They soaked Argentina's pressure, hit them on the counter. And do you know, a lot of people have not seen what in that game. The guy who led the third goal that was cancelled, who took it from from their Egyptian half all the way and crossed for that goal. Yeah. That guy was systematically removed in that game.
Yeah, he got injured.
Go and watch it. As soon as he was taken out due to injury, that was the end. Egypt's wing play was gone. Nobody brought in that vibe or that pressure and speed like he did. That counter-attacking form, nobody brought it again. They took him out clinically. So I agree with Akin when Akin says, if you're planning to soak pressure, don't plan to soak pressure and that's your plan. Mm-hmm. Soak the pressure with the intent to counter.